Test, test.
Oh, you're good. We got time.
it on? Good morning, everybody. I believe we get to get started. I know everybody's having so much fun catching up with each other. Love this time frame. Well, first, thank you guys for being here today. And for once, the wind is not howling 100 miles an hour, so everybody's hair looks amazing today. Good job. But today we are here to celebrate the accomplishments of our graduates. I'm Adrienne Wade. I'm the program director for these wonderful graduates. And with me today, we have Bree Webb, who is our clinical coordinator, Jerry Smith, who's our echocardiographer instructor, and then Amanda McKay, who's our adjunct lab assistant. Before we get started, I would like to take a moment to recognize our honored guests who are in attendance today. Please stand to be recognized. The LCCC Board of Trustee members, the President's Cabinet, and the School of Health Sciences and Wellness. And now we're going to welcome Dr. Schaefer to the podium for his opening remarks.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. It's wonderful to kick off probably our favorite time of the year, which is the weekend in which we celebrate the graduates of LCCC, and the wonderful pinning ceremonies that we do across our health science and wellness programs are just incredibly exceptional. First, I'd like to say to Dean Mason and to Adrienne and the faculty, congratulations. Another successful class and successful journey. I know there's a lot of pressure that we put on our faculty and administrators to recognize how precious the resource is of these seats and these graduates to the state and to the region with that. And so congratulations on doing that. Congratulations and thank you to the family and friends that are here. One thing we learn in higher education is, well, the journey is unique to the individual. They do not take it alone. And it is oftentimes the family and friends, those close folks that really prop our students up as they struggle through the challenges, the highs and lows of a program, especially one that's as rigorous as our sonography program. So thank you for what you've done for our graduates to help them get here today. And then, of course, to our graduates, congratulations on getting to this point. I will tell you, and this is just sort of happenstance today, I was on a video conference call this morning with some folks from Harvard's Kennedy Growth Lab, and I won't tell you about that, but Wyoming has engaged Harvard in looking at some of the challenges and opportunity with regard to our economic makeup in the state. And one of the things that they've pointed out is that for the most part, the return on an education in Wyoming is one of the lowest in the regions, except for one industry. And you guess what it is? Healthcare. Healthcare's return for education and opportunity is actually higher for Wyoming than it is for many of the regions, which means for our graduates, incredible opportunities. A lot of work, a lot of challenges will face you in your profession, but what great opportunities. And I tell you, you've chosen to graduate from one of the colleges that has the strongest, I think, healthcare program portfolios and is really trying to address those opportunities in healthcare. One of my favorite things to do when I travel throughout the region, especially if I'm utilizing some type of healthcare service in the Front Range or somewhere around here, is ask the clinicians and the healthcare workers where they're from. And oftentimes I hear LCCC. So regardless of where you land, graduates, far or near, hopefully more near, make sure you tell folks proudly of where you got your education. And so with that, congratulations, enjoy the pinning today, and of course the commencement ceremonies tomorrow. Do us well when you get out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Schaefer. So today we are celebrating the pinnacle of success of these graduates. Over the years, I often get asked, what makes a great student? And the students have been asked, what exactly do you do in school? So those questions are always at the top of my mind when I come to these things every year, because I want you guys to understand what our students go through. I don't think anybody will ever fully understand that. But what a lot of you guys often thought, even some of our students before they got into this program, is, oh, you just wave this magical wand and then you get this beautiful picture on the screen and it's like, cool, you push a button and there it is. But I think it was the very first day of scanning that they're like, you have to do what? And then you're like, yeah, you have to adjust the gain, you have to adjust the depth, and you got to move your transducer this way and then that way, and their minds are blown. So They have learned the art of scanning, and that's why they are here today, because now they can take those magical pictures every single day of their career. So, to answer those questions that we often get asked, what makes a great student? Well, a great student for me is somebody who's flexible, who wants to be coached, and they're passionate about their chosen field. It is a very hard, rigorous program, and without that passion, it makes it very difficult to get through those hard days when you're studying for the fourth different class and you all have exams the next day in 3 of those 4 classes. But that passion will often get our students through those tough times. And then what do they do on a daily basis? Well, I'm sure your graduates have already told many of you, but after their classes, they go home and they study 4 to 5 hours a day over 4 to 5 different courses that they have to prepare for. And then they also have scanning. So you think, okay, well, they have courses, but there's only 4 courses in a week. But there's 3.5-hour labs, 4 to 5 days, 4 to 5 hours a day during the week. So they really don't have a whole lot of time during the day to practice or to study. So you guys have supported these graduates in every possible way over the last 2 years. Some of you guys have brought chocolate to your students. Some of you have brought ice cream. Some of you have been a shoulder to cry on. But you have supported them over the last 2 years. And at the beginning of every summer, I tell my students, you have to find your support, whether it's your mom, a family member, a loved one, a friend, or even the person sitting next to you. The person sitting next to you is probably your best support system because they are the only ones that truly know what you are going through on a daily basis. I believe there are a lot of friendships built within the first few weeks of cross-sectional anatomy in the summer because they learn very quickly this is nothing like they've ever done before. No class has ever challenged them like this. All their study habits are out the window and they have no idea what they're doing. So they lean on each other and those friendships are bonded and they last forever. I see it on Facebook all the time where it's years down the road and I can still see them hanging out or, hey, I'm pregnant and would you like to be a part of my baby shower? So it's those friendships that get them through these tough times. So I thought I'd give you guys a brief insight into what our graduates went through for their first year during our ceremony. As you guys walked in, you should have been handed a bingo card with a pin. And basically what's on the bingo card are all the terms that we had to learn over the course of the summer. So this way, when you guys have your test in about 30 minutes, you guys will be able to pass. Just kidding. Nobody hyperventilate. I was totally joking, graduates. It's okay. All right, so these words are also the ones that we use throughout our entire career. It is a language that we use from sonographer to sonographer across the nation and across the world, so we can have that common knowledge of what is happening when we scan our patients. Without this common knowledge and the common terminology, we would not understand what we are doing. Now, there's 150 ways to scan, but we all use the same words so we understand what each of us saw and what we apply to our everyday scanning. So if you guys are competitive, like many of my graduates are, pay close attention. Granted, there's nothing to win, but it is for fun. So let's buckle down and get those pins clicked, and here we go. All right, so welcome, everybody, to the Fast Track Sonography School. You have completed all the required prerequisites to be here today. Starting now, everything you have learned to prepare for this program is your foundation to build upon. Essentially, you are an infant in the sonography program. You will have to learn how to talk, how to write, and scan. The anatomy, hint, hint, there's anatomy on your bingo card. Find that word. Classes have provided a solid foundation that you will build upon over the next several years and continue to have that foundation for your entire career. Ultrasound is very unique as we have our own vocabulary that we must describe our findings. These findings can be normal or they can be abnormal. And our job is to find out what the difference is and to know and understand what the difference is between normal and abnormal so we can report that to the radiologist or the doctor that is overseeing us. The first lesson is to learn the vocabulary that a sonographer uses to describe our findings. The first word is anechoic. Anechoic means black on ultrasound. Anything fluid-filled on ultrasound is going to be black, such as the blood vessels or the stomach in a fetus's abdomen, or the gallbladder. Anything that has fluid is going to be black. And then there are artifacts that occur that can also be black. And those artifacts, what we call, are shadows. So we have to learn what is a fluid-filled structure that is supposed to be anechoic and what is supposed to be a shadow. Now, sometimes those shadows are meant to be there to give us an idea of what is happening with our person. Other times, it's not. It means there's pathology. So we have to learn when those shadows are real and good for us, or when they're not good and we have to get rid of them. The opposite of anechoic is echogenic, another good one on your bingo card, which means bright or white on ultrasound images. Gallstones are echogenic, that's an abnormal finding. But the bones of a fetus are white, and that's a normal finding. So we have to understand when bright is good and when bright is bad. Ultrasound is hard because we have to figure out how many shades of gray there are to decipher from. There are over 256 shades of gray that our unit provides us. The human eye can only see 64 shades of gray. So we have to learn how to decipher those 256 shades of gray into 64 and then pick out the ones that are at number 62 and 65. We've got to figure out the difference. That's a good one. Would you guys agree, graduates? Yeah, those are our hard ones, huh? And then there are other terms that we use to compare the organs and also pathology. They're called hyperechoic and hypoechoic. Hyper means that it's brighter than whatever the surrounding structure is. Hypo means that it's darker than whatever the surrounding structure is. The first comparison is the liver to kidney, and I teach this in cross-sectional anatomy. It's the very first comparison they learn, that the liver is going to be brighter than the kidney. So it should be hyperechoic, or as they often get confused, the kidney is hypoechoic to the liver, just opposite. But what we do is that is an essential picture in our protocol image because it tells us if the liver is diseased or if the kidney is diseased. So it is an absolute protocol image for us to take that comparison so we can tell our doctors what we were seeing within our patients. And from there, the doctors can identify if it's normal or abnormal. Then there's other terms such as homogeneous and heterogeneous, which means that the homogeneous is nice and smooth, and heterogeneous is very lumpy and bumpy and not very nice. The irregular ones typically mean something's going on, but sometimes we have pathology that is also very smooth and solid. The liver, typically on a normal liver, is going to be homogeneous. So when we get a cirrhotic liver, it's very heterogeneous because it's very lumpy and bumpy. These terms also help to identify anything in these terms are learned within the first 2 weeks of the program and used on a daily basis for the remainder of their 2 years with us and then their career. Did I mention that they get the exam like the next day after they learn these words? Yep. We're week 1 in and they're already testing on these words, so we know how to use them on a daily basis. All right, so what is ultrasound? Ultrasound is a sound wave that is produced by an electrical current in a transducer at a frequency of 1 million cycles per second. These sound waves travel through a medium that produce an echo and assigned a level of gray to produce our image. We are not only medical experts in the human anatomy, but we are also experts in the physics of ultrasound. Each sound beam must travel through a medium in order for us to use the sound beams to get a good image. The strength of that returning echo is what assigns us our blacks, our whites, and our 256 shades of gray. The ultrasound machine allows a sonographer to adjust those different areas so that way we can make our image diagnostic. Remember these words as they are the core of every diagnostic image: depth, gain, and focus. We have standard guidelines that we must follow, and those guidelines say that our depth is 1 to 2 centimeters below the region of interest. And then the gain must be at or slightly below the level where you can identify the anatomy and the surrounding structures. Too dark, and you miss the surrounding pathology or normal anatomy. Too light, and you make a pathology look normal, or you can make normal look like pathology. Ah, Emerson, congratulations. All right, got our first bingo. Who's ready for blackout? So we also have the focus, and the focus on machine helps our sound beams to concentrate where we want it to look at. So essentially what we're saying is, machine, this is where we think something's going on. Give us all the strength you can to make sure that the pathology is true, or if it's just because we're not getting the right strength of returning echoes. So we have to know all of these knobs in order to do that. So did you guys know that your graduates are proficient in knobology? And knobology is a thing. It is their first comp that they have to do as a student. Without knowing their knobs, they don't know how to operate their machines. Without knowing how to operate the machines, they cannot produce good images. So it is one of those first things we test them on. Our machines have over 70 different knobs, toggles, and other things on them to get them to where we can adjust the technique. And they probably don't even know half of what the machines can do, to be honest. Neither do I. There's so many things our machines can do. But we learn something new every year. Somebody finds a button, they're like, oh, did you know this machine can do that? And they click it, and it's like, oh, hey, look at that. Even in the field, they trade secrets all the time, like, oh, did you know you can use this button instead of that one, and it'll do this instead of that? And people are like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. So 70 different knobs and toggles. It's imperative because without that proficiency, it is usually the one area that most of our graduates will struggle in from the very beginning when they take their first scanning comp, not knowing their machine because they have to look around. How many of you guys type one key at a time? Yeah, probably not, because it's not very efficient, right? So our students have to be able to work the machine with their left hand while scanning with their right hand, and they have to do it simultaneously, and they can't look at their buttons because otherwise they're just doing this. Takes too long. So they become very proficient at that. So the first knobs they learn are depth, gain, freeze, and print. Okay, congratulations. We have concluded the fast track summer semester. Now we get to scan because we're heading into fall. So if you are sitting in a chair with an orange paper on the back, or there's a little unit under your chair, you guys are the lucky ones and get to scan today. We will be walking around to help you. Well, my awesome people will be, but we're going to scan today. So look under your chair and grab your units. We turned them on before you guys sat down, so hopefully they're still turned on. If they're not, the power button is on the side of the little machine. Did they all time out? All they did. Graduates, if you can help too, the power button's on the side of the V scans. All right. Oh, we get to scan. Yay. Everybody get them turned on? I don't want to lose anybody. Need help? Do you want to go? Oh, he's got one. Okay. This is the fun part. Well, not the fun part. This is the interactive part. The fun part's the pinning. Okay, once you're on, you guys should see the little transducer that's tied to the cord. The ultrasound machine is the thing that looks like the phone. So the phone is your guys' ultrasound machine, and then you have the transducer on the cord. On this, you guys are going to use the long, skinny part of the transducer. So find the long, skinny part, not the short, stubby part, but the long, skinny part. We're walking around, we're putting gel on arms. Okay. All right, so this is very important. So listen up, everybody. Very important stuff right here. Those transducers have to point a certain direction. Otherwise, they don't work properly. Everything will be backwards. So on your little transducer, you should feel like a big knob or notch on the side. All right, do you see the notch right here? So that guy right there, that has to point towards your head. Yep, the green light has to point towards your head. Yep, towards your head. I know, right? So we're going to do this little number like that. There you go. Now you're scanning. Look at that. Carol's scanning over here. Who else is scanning? Henry's got it too. All right. You guys are looking at the arm muscles in your arm. Now, those that are being scanned, flex your hand and you can see the muscles move back and forth. You guys see the muscles moving? Yeah, let's move it. Let's turn it this way. There you go. Yeah, now squeeze your hand and watch those muscles move. Ah, look at that. What's that? A map? Oh, I have no idea. I don't know. Okay, now you've seen your muscles. Let's see if we can find a vessel. So keep it in long. And now there's a little button on your machine that says color. Push the little button that says color. And it's going to give you a new box. That color going? It'll take just a minute. There it is. Now you got to find the vessel. So you got to move that transducer back and forth until you find the vessel. And go slow. Yeah, that's okay. They're in there. Just got to find them. But yeah, stay on the outside of your arm and you should be able to find the artery. There it is. Oh, there it is. Go back the other way. Keep going. Coming in. Yep. Yep. Going too fast. Isn't that fun? So hard. There's one right there. That's a vessel. We're just not getting color in it, but. And you can turn it sideways. You can turn that little transducer sideways and do the same thing. Everybody have good blood flow in their arms? Maybe? Still not sure. You're dying? Oh, no, we can't have that. Let's turn it towards our head. Oh, it timed out. Alex, what's going on, girl? Yeah, it's okay. They're sensitive, not very sensitive. Yeah. You got different anatomy. Okay. All right, so you guys should have gotten Kleenexes. After you guys have had a little time, you can go ahead and wipe off that gel. Oh, yeah. It just went dead. It's timed out. There you go. Yeah, you're welcome. Did you find one? All right. Look at that go. Nice. All righty, as you guys continue to clean up, you can just put those little ultrasound units back under your chair, and our helpers will pick those up after we're all done today. How many of you nailed it and got the color the first time you put the transducer down? Yeah, that sounds about right. And that's okay. We don't have to get it right the first time, right? Whenever we try something new, we're never proficient at it. It always takes time to do that. So the one thing that I did not mention, but with those transducers, did everybody see the little green light on the little transducer? So all of our transducers have these notches or knobs or lights, and they tell us what plane we're scanning in. So when the light is pointing towards the patient's head, we're in a sagittal scan plane, so we can see everything running in the long version of the human body. And when that light is turned towards the patient's right, then everything's in a cross section. Notice I said it was the patient's right, because without that, then you're turned around backwards and everything looks flip-flopped. Now, I'm going to ask my graduates, how many of you guys turned your transducer around at least once when you were in lab? Yeah, raise those hands high. Be proud of that. It is one of the hardest things to do is not to turn around the transducer backwards, because you get to scanning and you're trying to get that image in there, and then pretty soon I'm like, Adrian, this doesn't look right. Yeah, your transducer's backwards. It is? No. Yep, it is. It will happen to all of us, even in the field. We'll be scanning along, and pretty soon we're like, that looks weird. And we turn and look, yep, our transducer's backwards, but we don't have to tell anybody because nobody cares. So it's important for those knobs to be in the correct plane. Otherwise, everything looks backwards. Okay, so now we also scanned on those little machines, and you guys saw the color box. So the color box essentially tells us when we have movement in a blood vessel. And so we look at that to make sure that we have adequate blood flow to extremities and to even the brain or our neck or any part of our body. And so with the color, that's a whole nother dynamics that we have to learn with ultrasound. We have to learn the gray part, then we have to learn this color part, and then we have to learn what's called spectral Doppler, which our cute little machines don't do. And that's listening to the sound of the blood flow. And these guys can tell you that it's not just seeing the ultrasound, it's also about hearing it. So when you have something going on in the blood vessels, it's the pitch that changes that tells us that there might be something going wrong. So it's the look of the vessel, it's the look of the Doppler, and then it's also the sound of the waveform coming back to us. And we have to learn all of that. And these guys learned all of that in 1 year. 1 year. That's very quick for these guys. How many of you guys enjoyed playing with that little ultrasound unit? You want to come to my program? I got got a program every year. I do applications if you guys want to come back. Okay. So that was the fast track. I hope you guys thoroughly enjoyed that. So now the second year, our students have to go out. So they take a whole year to learn how to scan. They practice on each other. They learn perfect anatomy. And then they head out to clinical their second year. And nobody is perfect when you scan in clinical. So they have to learn a whole new level. And so these guys take what they have learned as their foundation, and they continue to grow with that foundation over the course of the next year, making sure that they can scan anybody who walks into their room. One of the biggest challenges of that is they learn to memorize their fellow classmates in the lab. And so when they go out to clinical, there's no memorization because they only get to see that patient one time. And so that's the hardest thing for our students to grasp is, oh, I can't practice on you and then scan you again. Oh, I only get one shot at this. And so that's the biggest hurdle that they have to overcome that first semester of clinical. And then as they continue on, it's a steep learning curve. They have 8 weeks to learn new machines, new protocols, new wants of what the sonographers want. There's 4 of us sitting right here, and I'll guarantee you that we do not scan the same. We all scan differently. Now, in the end, we all have the exact same outcomes, and that's a diagnostic exam that we turn into the radiologist. But we all come about it differently. So some of these graduates worked with 11 different sonographers, some worked with 2 sonographers, and then some were one-on-one. But you have to learn everybody's ways, or otherwise they're like, you didn't do that right. Well, that's what so-and-so said. So we learned that. And you add on top of that radiologist. None of them want the same thing exactly the same way. They're all different. So you learn 20 different radiologist techniques as well as your own techniques. So they have a lot to learn that second year. So talk about a steep learning curve. Then they head off into the last part where they start to study for their exams to become certified, and they have to pass their competencies. So they have definitely persevered to be here today. So let's sit back, graduates, and enjoy all your hard work because you guys have definitely earned it. But before we continue on with the pinning, I just want to take a few minutes and talk about some of these amazing marks of accomplishments that they have attained this year. And so during our clinical year, our students log over 1,300 clinical hours. I think it's closer to like 1,336 hours, but over 1,300 hours. They have various competencies that they have to get in the lab setting, and then they have to go to their clinicals and they have to complete 21 different competencies within the year. They have the abdomen competencies, the OBGYN competencies, and the vascular competencies. Altogether, 21 different areas that they have to be proficient in. And then as of today, we have the following soon-to-be registered sonographers in each of the areas. Abdomen, we have 8. OB, we have 6. Vascular, we have 1. And all 11 have passed their physics. Round of applause, because that's a huge accomplishment. I also believe all of our graduates have jobs, whether they're part-time, PRN, or full-time. Some in this region and some back home where they traveled from long ways away to be here for this program, but they get to go home now. So it will be great to see you guys out there in the field. Our graduates have mastered the art of sonography as entry-level sonographers. They will be using the next 2 years to continue to master their skills. We often say that it's not the schooling that makes you grow, it's the first year out of school that you have the massive growth and you'll become the best sonographer you can that first year out of school. So don't forget to keep learning, keep pushing forward, and take every little tip you can and make yourself who you want to be as a sonographer. And here's a little secret that nobody probably knows about ultrasound. There will be days, no matter how long you've been in the field, that you will feel like a graduate that entire day. No matter how hard or how much you want to push past that, every patient you get is difficult and everything that you get is wrong. And you're just like, okay, I'm a student again today. And then you go home, you go to bed, you come back, you're like, let's do this again. And you hope that you don't have the same outcome the next day. But this is what we have to be as sonographers. We have to be confident, but not too confident. We have to be open to growth every day. And we have to be willing to be lifelong learners. Confidence is knowing when you need to step out of the room and ask for help. There's no shame in stepping out and saying, Amanda, I cannot get this. Can you come help me? Because our end goal is to make sure our patients have the best care possible, even if that requires another person to come into the room. This is one of the most humbling careers, I think, that's out there. Because like I said, some days you're on top of the world and you scan great, and then the next day you're a student all over again. And then some days you're kind of in the middle, and then it just goes downhill, or you might have a great afternoon, who knows. But it is one of those most humbling when you think you have it right and a radiologist calls you in and say, how long have you been doing this? Well, maybe you should go hit the books because you didn't do that right. Like, okay, my bad. So it's the confidence, you guys. You know what you're doing. Take it with you, grow with it, continue to grow with it. And yes, when those doctors question you, be confident. You guys know what you are doing. I also think that this is the most rewarding career because I feel you can make the difference of somebody's life by being compassionate, by being skilled, and then confident with those skills. Our graduates have proven that they have these qualities and will take these qualities with them as they grow. Now, we will conduct our pinning ceremony of our graduates, and I welcome Amanda to do this next part.
All right, so the pinning ceremony is dedicated to our graduates and represents the culmination of their last 2 years in the sonography program. It is our way of showing them how proud we are of their accomplishments, and the pins are meant to remind them that they can do anything they put their mind to and be successful. We asked each graduate to select an individual to pin them and to provide a brief description of why they chose them for this honor. As we call the graduate and selected pinner, please come up to the front to receive your pin. Our first graduate is Mia Balchuk. I have chosen my husband Matt to pin me because he was initially the person who encouraged me to pursue my dreams of becoming a sonographer. He has supported me throughout this program and has given me open arms and ears for all the challenges this program has brought me. Our next graduate is Zaylee Barella. My family has been my biggest support system and greatest blessing. I am truly so appreciative for everything they have done for me. Because of their support and encouragement, I am grateful to have my dad to pin me today. Our next graduate is Tara Kattenberg. I chose my partner Jacob to pin me today. Jacob moved to Cheyenne with me so that I could move mountains with him. None of this would have been possible without his love and support, so here's a big thank you for helping me reach the stars. The next graduate is Eden Cole. I have chosen my fiance Patrick to pin me today because he is my biggest supporter and cheerleader in life, but especially through the last 2 years in this program. Thank you for being my partner, encouraging me to follow my dreams, and being my shoulder to lean on when I didn't think I would succeed.
Eden, come back up here. I got something special. Well, not special, but something that she accomplished that I think is very special that we should all know. So by happenstance, Bree was on the SDMS website the other day, getting ready to register for our conference in the fall, and she was scrolling on the side, and she's like, SDMS Scholarship, Eden Cole. I know that name. That name sounds familiar. There's not very many Eden Coles out there. So she clicks on it, and there's this lovely lady from Eden Cole from LCCC who got the scholarship from the SDMS Student Scholarship. So great round of applause because that's awesome. Congratulations. I know, I'm so bad at all.
Okay, the next graduate is Emerson Dodge. I chose my mom to pin me because she is always cheering me on. Anytime I need to be encouraged or reminded that I can do this, she is the one I know I can go to. I know she will never get sick of my phone calls, even though I call her almost every day. She always loves to listen to me tell her about cool anatomy facts, and she's always there to listen when I cry, which is a lot. I couldn't have asked for a more supportive mom, and I couldn't have done this without her. Love you, Mama. Our next graduate is Dea Haju. I chose my husband to pin me because not only would I have not been able to do any of this without him, but there is no one I would have rather done all of this with. The sacrifices he has made for me have shown me just how unconditional his support, love, and courage has been. Jaden Nelson. I chose my amazing wife to pin me because there's nothing quite like the feeling of someone believing in you, even when you don't believe in yourself. Her encouragement and support has been invaluable to me, and I don't think I could have made it this far without her. She's pushed me to be my best and has never given up on me, even when I've stumbled. I feel so lucky to have her in my life, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for all that you do. Katie Reinecke. My mom and dad have been my biggest support throughout this whole process. They have been my constant source of encouragement, and they always knew how to pick me up when I was down. I truly would not be here today if I didn't have them by my side. I couldn't ask for better people to pin me. Thank you for everything, Mom and Dad. You are such a blessing to me, and I love you. Adriana Reekins. My husband Devin and our kids Andy and Casey are pinning me today. My little family has been my rock throughout this program, and without them, I would not be here. I am so appreciative of all the love, encouragement, and support they gave me while I was a sonography student. I want to give a huge thank you to my husband Devin for solely taking care of our babies while I was busy with clinicals, learning to cook dinner so I could study, and being the sole provider these past 2 years so I could dedicate myself to ultrasound. I can never repay you, but I am eternally grateful for you. We finally made it. Catherine Swan. I am grateful that my parents are here to pin me. From helping me study to giving me reassurance when I'm overwhelmed, over the past 2 years, they have been my endless support. Thank you for all you do. I am so blessed to have you as my parents. Meredith Warren. I am choosing my mom and dad, Janelle and Stan Winery, to pin me because they have always been on my side, encouraged me when school got challenging, listening to me about my interesting ultrasound cases at clinicals, helped me to study for exams, and were there for me when I needed a break to come back home. I appreciate all that you've done for me and the sacrifices you've made to get me to this point where I am today. Thank you, Mom and Dad.
Another round of applause for all of our graduates. Good job, guys. All right, so we're almost there, guys. Just bear with me a few more minutes. So the LCCC DMS program would not be successful as it is today without all of our clinical instructors, sites, facilities that agree to take our students for an entire year to help train them to be the sonographers that they are today. So with that, thank you, clinical sites, for everything that you guys do. I know some of you guys are here. I saw a few of them, but without them, we would not be here. So thank you again. Our students in our program are genuinely better because of the efforts and dedication of your facilities, your sonographers, and your leaders. Each clinical facility will receive a reward and recognition with comments from our students regarding their amazing experiences at your facilities. I'd also like to take a moment to thank our DMS Advisory Committee members who help to make sure that our program is meeting the needs of all of our stakeholders, making sure that we are at the top of the field and we're seeing all the new advances that are coming out. Their foresight is what keeps us so valuable here at LCCC. As we conclude our ceremony, we'd like to express our gratitude for having the honor to share this day with you. Every year, I get the privilege to speak on behalf of the graduates, honor their accomplishments, and it is a real honor to support, educate, mentor, and help our students achieve their dreams. This class has proven to us how amazing they are, and we know they are going to make a difference in the field of sonography. We are proud of you and take comfort in knowing that the sonography community will be taken well care of with your hands. Graduates, please stand for a round of applause. So Tara and Adriana, if you guys can bring our honorary graduates up front, please. So check out these cute, adorable little boys. These little boys were, well, one was found during one of our competencies, and the other one was planned. But we have two beautiful honorary sonographers with us today, and they were a big part of our spring semester because anytime we did not have an OB patient, we had two students ready to be scanned. So congratulations, little buddies. Thank you, ladies. All right, so this concludes our ceremony. Please join us in the reception next door and congratulate our graduates. Thank you again for coming today, and congratulations, class of 2024.